All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shedrack, and today we'll be discussing or learning about Git commands, how to use Git commands and GitHub. So basically, we did a makeup section. Did a makeup session earlier this week, earlier last week. Sorry, I think Tuesday. I held that class. We discussed some of the things that most people would have missed because they were not able to meet up. That's why it was called a makeup class. So basically, an assignment was given for the makeup class, and that assignment is not just for the makeup students or people that attended the makeup class, but for everyone to try. Remember, all these assignments at the end of the day would amount to whether you get a certificate of blockchain and or not. So let's try to attempt them at least. So basically, today I'll be starting very early because um I have another meeting by 9, so I have to try and round up by then. But basically, I'm not going to rush. I'll make sure that everybody understands Git and Git commands. But this is most likely the third class that I'll be talking about terminal commands. I think the last class on Sunday said my voice is not loud enough. Is there anybody having the same issue? Is my voice that low before I start shouting? Is anybody else having the same issue? Okay, I guess. Can you guys hear me? Can you unmute and tell me if you can hear me? All right,
We can hear you.
all right.
Yeah, but not very
So,
clearly.
basically, all right. So basically, like I said, from our last session, I think the one on Sunday, Chibzo took us on Git, introduction to Git and GitHub, and I believe he guided you to opening a GitHub account. So I will not need to go through that stress of opening a GitHub account again. I really hope that you have a GitHub account for this particular class because it's definitely what we'll be dealing with. And due to the fact that we taught terminal commands before we taught Git, most of the things that we'll be doing today will be through our terminal or through our computer's PowerShell or command prompts, whichever you might call it. But that's where I'll be doing most of my things today. I'm not going to be going the normal way. I'll be going the terminal command way. So I hope that we already have an account on GitHub. Let me I hope you already have an account on GitHub because most of the stuff I'll be doing today will be on GitHub. As to that's what we're learning about. So so basically it's a very practical class. So fortunately, there's no slides because everything is practical. I'm doing it from scratch. So I'll most likely be sharing my screen now. The only thing I don't like now is that I'll be the one admitting people and also teaching, which is going to be causing breaks. Because I don't have somebody available right now that can help me. But we'll be okay. We'll be fine. So basically version control, terminal control, use of Git and GitHub. The major purpose of Git and GitHub. The major purpose of GitHub specifically. GitHub is like a developer's portfolio. Contains things you have done. Like when I got my first role in a startup, I didn't have a portfolio. I've not built a portfolio for myself yet. It was through my GitHub that I got the gig or the offer. Because I was like, I don't have a portfolio now, but I sent a resume and I sent my GitHub link, and they went through my profile. They saw things I worked on, and that enabled me to get the offer. So it's very important that we keep our GitHub updated. Try to do open source and so many of other things. So GitHub is very important. And not only does it uh, help profile who you are, it also helps to store your code. So you don't have to keep every single thing on your system. Basically, imagine you having to work on about 50 projects or 50 different things while you're learning, and everything just on your system. Especially if your system is not able to control large amount of that. Like I'm talking about the processing speed, the processor is quite low or it's quite average. You don't need to be packing that much um, data or document in your system. So that's why we have our GitHub. So it enables us to store our code. Git is actually the responsible for helping store the code, but GitHub is now actually where you can find the code that you committed or you stored. So basically, I spoke with Chibuzo, and he mentioned that he puts you guys through learning and understanding and creating a repo and cloning a repo. So basically, I'll my major work today is to teach you how to use GitHub. I believe you have downloaded Git Bash on your laptop to enable Git um, controls to work. Because if you don't have Git Bash, all the Git commands that we're doing will be looking like a gibberish. So make sure you have Git Bash. And even if you are doing the same command I'm doing and you don't have Git Bash, it's going to be returning error. So make sure we have Git Bash. So basically today main concentration is GitHub. GitHub. So what can I say? Give me a minute. All right. So what can I say? GitHub is basically used for. GitHub is more like a hosting platform for collaboration, for working. If you're working with other people, you don't start sending your documents from your laptop and say, "Okay, see what I've worked on. Let me send you the file." Not at all. Let me send you the file. Not at all. That's why we have GitHub for us to collaborate. Any company that hire you tomorrow, if you are submitting your part of the deal, you are updating your branch on your GitHub. I'll talk about GitHub branch. I'll talk about main branch. I'll talk about side branches, which is very important. Very, very, very important. When I was in my learning phase, I didn't take Git and GitHub serious because I thought it's just about creating repository, then pushing my code to the repository, and that is all. When I started working with other people, I went to go and push everything I've worked to the to the main branch, and the thing just cleared every other person work because it was only my work that was there. So I learned it the hard way, and I had to start looking for different git commands to revert my commits to take it back to the former stage so that other people work can come back. I also learned how to create my branch and so many of those other stuff. So that's why Git is very important. So it's a hosting platform. Apart from a hosting platform, it's a platform for collaboration. So in a situation whereby you coded something now, for instance, and you probably want to share the link, you could use a platform like Netlify to just upload the file and it will give you a link to the file. But with GitHub, most of this hosting free hosting websites like Netlify most likely have an option for you to connect to your GitHub so I can get the code from GitHub. So GitHub also serves as a hosting platform. Even at some point, I used to use GitHub to even host, like to just go live with GitHub and it gives me a link. It works like that too. So it teaches you things about GitHub teaches things about cooperating and collaborating in people, helping other people solve their problem and contributing to other people's projects. So that's the major thing GitHub does. So without actually wasting any time, let me see. I'll share my screen now. Okay. All right. Somebody can just assist and tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes, we can. Yes, we can.
All right. So basically, let's get down to it. It's going to be a very practical class. Um, I don't know. I'm looking for an assistant right now. Naomi, are you in the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
If possibly there are about at most 5 questions on the message box. Just unmute your mic and let me know so I can leave the app and to answer to those questions. It can be an interactive class.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't get what you said. You said what happened to
Unlike
questions?
if on the message tab there are at least 5 questions, you could just call my attention so I can answer before I go further into what I'm talking about. So everybody can be with me.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
All right. So basically, all right. So I don't know. Can you see my screen? This is my command prompt. Are you seeing it? Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my command prompts? Naomi,
Yes,
right?
yes, we can.
All right. So basically, what I want to do now is to open a document in my local machine or in my laptop. I want to open it and also open my VS Code to open that folder. So basically, I'm using terminal commands. So I'm sure if you were in the class with you, so I spoke about different terminal commands. So I'll be using my command prompts now. So I don't know if we know what CD is. What CD means change directory. It means change directory. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to change directory to OneDrive, and I'm going to change directory because now I'm in OneDrive folder. So I'm going to change my directory again to documents. Now I've navigated to document folder. So I created a folder called bootcamp. I created a folder called bootcamp. So I'm going to now change um my directory path to bootcamp. So I'll do cd then bootcamp. So now I've navigated to bootcamp. So I'm currently in the bootcamp folder. So I want to open my VS code through my command prompts. All these are terminal commands. If I decide to go back now, I'll just do cd dot dot and I'll go back. Right? Like I went back one directory. Right? That's how we do it. So if I want to go back, I can just move my arrow button up so I can get the last command I did. And I can just move it up. You can see. And when I go back to bootcamp, I'm in bootcamp. So if in a situation now, for example, I want to let's say I want to go back now, and okay, I decide that I don't want to name it bootcamp. I want to create a new folder. I can do make directory. I call it, let me say, GitHub. I've created a new folder called GitHub. So now I can decide to navigate that folder, and now I'm in the GitHub folder. So if I open my folder on my laptop and I go to my OneDrive and I go to documents and I go to Git and I go to documents, I'm going to find the GitHub folder there. I'm definitely going to find the GitHub folder. So Let's say I'm in my documents now. Yeah, my GitHub folder is present. Sorry, let me admit this person. So what I'll do now is that what I want to do now is that I want to open my VS Code. Like let me show you for example now. If you look at my documents, you can see documents GitHub. So I'm already in GitHub folder, but it's empty. So what I want to do now is that I want to open my VS Code to open this GitHub. So I'm going to do code dot sorry code dot is going to open my VS Code and directly open this folder. So all these codes are like you need to have git bash installed. You need to have git bash installed for you to have all these codes, except from the change directory. That's a default Windows system terminal command. So once I click enter, I'm expecting it to open my VS Code, and it's definitely going to be opening the folder directly. So it opened on my second screen, so I'm just gonna share it. I'm trying not to I hope can you guys see my VS Code? So just by clicking
Yes,
code
we
so just
can.
by clicking code dots, the VS Code opened and it opened the GitHub folder directly. So let's create an index.html folder. So I've created an index.html folder. I hope what I did was shift, then the exclamation sign, this exclamation sign. Once you do it, if I click enter, it opens the header, my HTML header for me. So that's just a cheat code instead of typing it out one by one. But typing it out one by one is good practice, so because there are some instances where you host your website and there are some instances that you host your website and you notice that there's one or two problem with the hosting. It could most likely be from the hosting type or your header. So sometimes we can change this thing to just UTF instead of UTF-8. It's possible that that might be the cause. We might decide to change our content width. So this header is important, and it's in the header that you have your title basically. So instead of typing it out one by one, you could just do shift and that exclamation mark, which is I think that exclamation mark should be in the number one in your numeric keys on your keyboard. So that's an easy way of doing it. So basically, I'll go over the terminal commands again. Just see what I did. I changed directory to to OneDrive, then to documents, then to Bootcamp. Then I went back. I changed again to Bootcamp. I decided that okay, I don't want to use Bootcamp anymore. I went back and I created a directory called um, GitHub. So if it's a situation now that I'm using GitHub now and I'm not more using Bootcamp, and I decide that okay, let me delete the Bootcamp from my terminal, I can just go back. Documents now is where the Bootcamp folder is, and I'll just do um, remove this even boom remove directory rmdir, and your Bootcamp folder is gone. So if I decide to navigate back to Bootcamp, I should be getting an error. The system cannot find the path specified. So it means that the folder is no more present. I've deleted it from my terminal. Okay, so but this is actually an external terminal. Our command prompt is actually an external terminal. VS Code has given us the opportunity to have an internal terminal. So I can just come here, terminal and new terminal, and I can see the terminal that comes with VS Code here. And from here I can do all my Git commands. The thing is that the best practice, if you ask me, is to use your command prompts. If you ask me, that's the best practice. To use your command prompt because then you actually learn not only via not only not only terminal codes that are allowed in VS Code, but terminal codes that can run in your system completely. Because if you have so much documents in your system, instead of you to just go to your document and start scrolling and be like, wait, I want to show you this thing. You scroll, scroll, scroll. I don't know where I get this folder. What did I? You can just use the terminal command. Okay, the folder name is this. Why don't I just navigate to that folder name and open it directly and show you what I want to show you? Like, this is a very powerful tool. Even in situations where you want to host backend application or your system is acting as a server, it is still from this command prompt. You can connect to your hosting SSH, which is most likely the link on your cyber panels and all of that. But that's further into hosting of websites, which I even believe that people should even be teaching in boot camp basically. I'll probably talk about that later on in the boot camp. So there's so much things you can do with this command prompts. It's not there for hacking purposes. So like when I first saw this thing, I used to feel like I can use this thing and hack Wi-Fi. You go online, you search, you will not still hack any Wi-Fi. That's just the truth. As long as you don't know what and what it is, you cannot hack anything with this. But it is capable. It's capable of breaching security. This command prompt you are saying. So it's basically your whole system terminal controls a lot of things there. So we should learn how to use it very well as a programmer or a web developer or front end developer or front end engineer. You should learn how to use this very well. So basically, give me a minute. All right. So now my terminal is fully loaded and I can see the path I'm in basically. So now before I start going to Git and Git command, definitely I would want to commit something now. So what should I write? Okay, let's say um this is a GitHub class for blockchain unit, for example, and um yeah, this is a GitHub class for blockchain unit. Probably I know I've heard of Lauren Ipson before. Everybody must have heard of it. So it's a what I did was word wrap. You can just come here, click on view, and click on word wrap. So that if you write the text and it's going sideways, you can just wrap it so it will fix the screen. So I just did word wrap. Even in CSS, you have word wrap. So basically, if um this is my website now, for example. Let me see if I can go live. I don't even remember the last time I used live server, but let me go live. Alright. So this is just what I wrote down. This is GitHub. This is a GitHub class for blockchain UNN. Learn if some blah blah. Learn so it's for dummy text. Most likely as a web developer, you will always work with dummy text until you are provided the content. So if in a situation where this is basically my website now, for example, and I want to push these tips to my GitHub. Like I want to show my supervisor or my project manager that okay, this is what I've worked on. Let me push it to my GitHub and so that you can go through the code. So the first thing I'll most likely do is this particular Chrome. I don't think my GitHub is here. Okay, let me. You guys can still see my screen, right? Naomi, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
All right.
Yes, we
So
can.
if for example, all right, if for
Yes, we
example
can
now,
see it too.
all right, if for example now I want to push my code. Now this is code I just did. Now the first thing I'll do is click on new, because I can navigate to most likely when you open your VS Code. you would be shown the overview page. So you could just come to repositories from here, or you click on your profile and go to your repositories. Now, what is your repositories? Everything you have uploaded to everything you have uploaded to your GitHub, basically. So that's your repository. Yeah, these are stuff I've worked on and I've kept. Anybody I give my GitHub link will look at, okay, wow, 40 repositories, this, that. I'm not saying, see, treat your GitHub like your profile. Don't go and don't go and write Emeka is a bad guy and push it. Because tomorrow when you submit a link, somebody see, like, you need to show, how like it's self-respect. You need to show, you need to stand out, you need to present yourself well. So we should know what we are pushing. If we are building websites to impress our girlfriends, don't carry it to GitHub, oh, because you might never remember to take it out. Some people don't even know how to delete repository. That's just the truth. So we should make sure that whatever we're pushing there is something we want to sustain, something we want to present to other people. So basically now, the first thing I'll do if I want to push um this information to my GitHub is to come to new. Once I click on new, now I decide the name. So I can say bootcamp. So it checks the whole of my repository to make sure that I don't have a similar name to what is here. So I might decide to add a description to my repository or not. It's optional, but I'm not going to be adding a description. I'm going to be making it public. I'm not going to be adding a README file. What is README file? Whenever somebody clicks on that particular repository, the person can see what it is about without even having to go through it, like a preview, an abstract of, okay, this is what this website is about. That's a README. But I don't have a README file. But if I also have a README file, I'll just come here and I'll create probably readme.md, most likely. I'll create a README file, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So once I check all this and I'm okay with it, what I'll do is create repository. Right? So I've clicked on create repository. Now I can see the various Git commands to follow so that I can upload uh, my website to this particular repository that I just created. So basically now I can decide two things. Sorry, I can decide two things now. I can decide to perform all those commands right here in my terminal, or I might decide to do it here. So let me just ask you guys, which one most likely would you prefer? I use Should I use my command prompt or should I use the VS Code for us to upload the websites? Popular opinion.
Let's try both.
How- Okay, let's try both. Okay, so let's start with the command prompt. Just that if I'm trying both, I'll have to create another repository. I have to create another repository to explain the second one. But let me start with using command prompts, for example, because I want you guys to get used to using command prompts first because it gives you more functionality. Understanding the use of command prompts is golden. So basically I'll start with using command prompts. So what I'll do firstly is change my directory because now I'm in documents. So I have to change my directory back to GitHub. So after that, let's follow the process because if I just type it now, it will be looking like I just know it. So let's follow the process. So as you can see, the first thing is if I have a README, definitely echo hash block hash bootcamp double or forward arrow and readme.md and I'll get my README file. But I don't have a README file. So what the first thing I'll do now is git init. Now this will only work if I have git bash installed. It only work if I have git bash installed. So basically now I'll do git init. That's the first thing you should do. They already gave you a guideline process. So I'll go back to my command prompts. Let me make this smaller. Why? Okay. So now the first thing I want to do is git init. So I can highlight from here and paste it. If you want to paste in your command prompt, it's not control V. Just right click and it will be pasted. Okay, let's try it. If I copy this now, control C, and I come to my command prompt, I'll just have to put my right arrow and it gets pasted. Alright. So git init is the first thing. What does git init do? We're about to see it now. So the first thing you see is initialized MC Git repository. User shares the OneDrive documents GitHub slash dot git. What it means is that it made your it converted your documents to be like it initialized it to be a Git repository, meaning that if it's not a repository, you can store it on your GitHub repository. Remember what I did? I created a new repository and it led me to this page after I inputted my name. So documents and repository are basically two different things. So for you to upload your documents to your GitHub, you must make it a repository. And the only way to do that is to do git init. And the word init, I don't know if you watch, I don't know if I've watched Top Boy, but this is a London slang. Init, man them in it, all kind of stuff. So that's basically what it means. It's like, all right, let's make this document Git. So that's what it just means, Git init. So init is not, let it not be sounding like Greek to you on one computer mad slogan. No, init is simple UK slang. And I guess the person that the team that created Git and GitHub most likely are from the UK, most likely. So once you do Git init, it initializes your document to become a Git repository so that it can be stored on GitHub. Basically, that's what it does. So I can be stored on GitHub. So after I've done that, because if I don't do the Git in it, I can do the rest of this command and it's never be going anywhere because the first thing to tell you is you have not initialized this as a Git repository. So since I've done Git init, uh, what I'll do next is it's not part of the commands we're seeing here, but it's something I always do. Why? So that I can see the files that I'm about to upload. So I don't upload what I don't want to upload. So if for example now, let's say if for example now let's say I want to view all the files now that I'm about to upload to my GitHub. I'm going to do git status. Now what does git status do? It shows me, okay, this is the only file that I have that I need to upload to my Git, and it's in red because it is not yet uploaded. Now let's do something. Let me go back to my VS Code. I don't think we have gone into CSS yet, but let me just create a CSS file. Um, let me link link it link it. Let me come here. I'll probably say H1. Let me make the should I do of color? Let's make it gray. Let's make it gray now. So let's look at our website. Okay, yes, it's green. So I added a CSS to it. The major reason I'm adding CSS to it is so I can create an extra file, right? So once I've created an extra file, I'm now going to repeat the git status. I just need to move up. So once I move up, I can see my last command. And once I click it again, you can see now I have index.html and main.access. I main.css that I have not uploaded that is ready to be uploaded most likely, or these are the present files currently in my GitHub folder. So what's the next thing I'll do? Based on this command here, you would think I'll do git add readme.md, but I do not have a readme file. So what I'll do is git add. Now if I just do git add, it's going to return an error. See, maybe you wanted to say git add dot turn the message off by running this that. So basically what I'm supposed to do is git add dot. What does this dot mean? It means that it is adding every file that showed up in my git status, index.html and main.css. Every file present in my folder. That is what this dot means. If I decide that I want to add only my index.html, so I can do git add, I'll remove the dot. and do index.html. Sorry, index.html, and I do it like this. What does it mean? I've added my index.html, but I've not added my main.css. Let's confirm that. I'm going to do git. I'm going to do git status basically. Now git status will show us the ones that have been added and the ones that have not been added. So once I click on it, you can see that the new file is showing index.html because it's the only thing I added, and the one I've not added is showing me um main.css, which is in red. Let me see if there's anybody to admit. All right. So I guess you guys are following me, right? Yes. Are you guys following?
Yes, we are.
All right. How do we delete five on family now? Don't worry, we're coming to that basically. So let me return back. So basically, I can see that wow, I added only index of HTML. So that means in my Git repository now, it is only index of HTML that is there. It means the CSS is not there. So the best practice to do is to add a dot so you can upload everything. But in situations whereby you are working in a team and they said don't touch other file, only touch index.html. Don't do this one, don't do that one. You make sure that you touch so that in case you touch other file, you make sure that you add only index.html when you are updating your Git repository. So that in case maybe you don't know, you went to come and touch one thing in other files and destroy somebody work, you will not commit it to your Git because you did not add it. So removing the dot and using the name instead is to add that particular file that you have indicated with the name. So I can decide now that okay, I want to add the main.css normally again. So I'll do git um add main.css. Now if I do my git status, I can see that okay, I've added these two things. So now, if I want to use the git add and dot, there's no more new things to add. So it's definitely going to tell me that there is no new change or anything. So let's make a change now, for example. My VS Code now, and I decide I want to touch the HTML file. So I can say H2. What should I say? Okay, let's say Naomi is my assistant. Okay, basically, this is what I did. So, and in my CSS, I want to come and change the H2 tag. I'll say color gray. It's gray, bro, right? Okay, let's say gray. Now let's look at my live server. Let's see. Now this is the correct update, right? So what does it mean? It means that I touched both my I touched both my index.html and my main.css. Now, most people don't know how to completely use VS Code to check what they have changed. You don't need to go and start doing git status every time to know what you have changed. Because if I go back to my command prompt now and I do git status, I'll see red again because I modified. You can even see the indication modified. So that means there's new things for me to add to my repository. So instead of coming here every time to give status to know what you have added, you can just come to your VS Code and navigate to source control. In source control, you can see stage changes and you can see normal changes. So what does it mean basically? Stage changes. I've committed these two files to my Git, but still I made changes. And the changes now, once I click on it, I'll basically see what I changed. This is the working tree. I'll basically see what I changed. That's what it means. Once you click on the changes, if I come to main.css, I'll see what I changed. So if someone else is looking at your code tomorrow and they're like, okay, what did you do? Or you are not around to show the person what you did. Once the person gets a hold of your folder or your file, the person can just come to the source control and click on each of those documents that will be under the changes section to see what you changed. Why these state changes are just simply files that I already modified, which I have already added before to my Git. That's what it means. So instead of coming to be doing Git status every time to know what was modified, you can just come to your source control here and click on the changes so you can see what was changed and what was not changed, basically. So I'll return back to my Explorer for the Fly Explorer. So basically, I make changes now, and I can see that my Git status is telling me, it's showing me red. That means I need to add the changes I made. So basically, sorry, I didn't even know my connection was bad. Where did I stop? Can somebody remind me the last thing that person made? Sorry for the break. Can you guys hear me? I didn't even know when I lost connection.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yes, we can hear you.
yeah. Sorry, I think you.
Okay, where did you guys stop hearing? So I can carry everybody
I,
along.
I think you stopped in where you were trying to use the VS Code to show us maybe some changes people made. Maybe after
Okay.
committing.
All right. Let me quickly share my screen now. All right. Let's see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So yeah, basically, from I was talking about using source control to know the changes that were made instead of every time you are going to do git status, git status, git status. So when we make a change, okay, I already committed the changes. So let me make another change now. For example, okay, let me say I want to put my body tag. Let me put width of 1,000 pixels, and I'll put a border of 2 pixels solid red, for example. Now, so let's see the changes that I made now. Let's take a look at it. So this is what I just added. So what does it mean? It means that I can just come to my source direct, my source control in my VS code to basically see the changes that I made. And once I click on it, see these changes. Once I click on it, it shows me what I added, which is this. So instead of going to your terminal to do git status every time to know what was added, you can just check it from your VS code here, basically. So I'll just cancel that. So now go back to my Fly Explorer. So yeah, I was talking about the next thing now we should do is to commit, and I was explaining what git commit means. So git commit is not only have you added the file, but you are committing your changes to the main, or to your particular branch that you're working on. I'll talk about main, I'll talk about branch. But one thing you should understand that is that when you open a repository, the first place that you'll be committing to is the main place. That's the thing. If for example now you create a borehole, there will first of all be a general outlet before you now add other pipes to it to separate the water flow. Okay, this one should go to the north, this one should go to the south, this one should go to the east. But when you initially create that borehole, definitely it's going to just be pouring out the water from one source. So that's exactly how it is when you commit. So when you commit to your Git repository, you are committing to one place at first. Then if you are not having to work on some other things, or you are inviting people to work on your repo, then they can now start creating a branch from your main repo. So let's say let's put it like this: when you commit to your Git, for example, you are that main branch you're committing to is the stem. So the first place that you commit to is the stem. Then later you can now start adding branches, so that if you invite me to work on your repository, I'll work on a branch. I can name my branch Shedrack pieces, and I'll name it. Tomorrow, if Emeka is working on his branch, he can create his own branch and work on it instead of working directly on your main. Why? If Emeka go and change something in your code and commit it to your main, everything in your code will change. So that main should be respected. It should be an untouchable area. Only if like the codes that even should be going to main are the codes that have been approved if you're working in a team. But if you're working on your own, just be committed to main. You don't need branch because you don't feel like somebody else's. You don't feel like there will be a mistake because you're the one working on everything. You're the only one to be project, so you can just commit to your main basically. So I've spoken about Git init. I've spoken about Git add, how to add a single file and how to add all the files together, and also Git status to help us see the files that changes have been made to and we need to add to our Git repository. So the next thing I'll do is Git commit. So I'll just say Git commit. Commit. The major reason of commit is for you to describe, to give a description to what you changed. And once the person see your commit, okay, let me show you. Okay, I will need to finish creating this repository first before I can show you what commit majorly does. But let's commit this file now. So git commit, um that's to your main branch basically. um I can just say main. So git commit to main. Sorry, I is shaking. Git commit, then main, then I'm going to now add a comment. See, your git commit is not complete without a comment. So let's say I want to make a comment. I can say I can call this comment initial pages, initial commit. That's what I want to name it. So this is my first commit. I can try to name it first commit. I can try to name it anything I want. But whatever you're naming it, if tomorrow somebody is reading it, that's the name the person will say that okay, this was the first time he created this document. So it's the this commit is creating like a stage by stage mapping. Once I do this commit now, it is going to be stated that on the 9th of September 2023, I created this repository and I committed the first thing to this repository. That is what the commit is. So that tomorrow, if somebody is trying to, go back in time to look for one or two changes in me that have been overwritten, he can just look for his commits where he said, I added the button to do this. So you can look for the commit map that okay, I added the button, search through the commit map, and you can find it and okay, get the code from there. So that's another importance of Git. Um, before I lose you guys again, let me know if we're together. Okay, all right, we're together. So basically, the next thing I'll do is Git commit. So Git commit, initial commit. So once I click on enter, Git commit did not match any file known to Git. Error past text commit. Okay, give me a minute. Let's see. Now documents, GitHub. I'm in the folder. Git commits. Oh. Okay, okay. I did not add. Okay, let's do this. Now this is surprising. What could be causing this error? Let's see. Git commits initial. Okay. I think I know the error for first commit. Yeah, I forgot to say the command I'm giving is git commit. So I for the first commit you're making, try not to use okay best practice. Try not to use commit as you naming your reference. So what I did now was I committed my folder or my file, sorry, and I named it initial. So try not to use this commit. That's where the error was coming from because there's a git command called git commit, but there's no git command called initial commit, and commit is a unique word in git command. So let's not try to use it. I think that's where the error was coming from. So I've learned something right now. So basically, I've committed it now. So the next thing I want to do now is to commit it to the branch. Now, why am I committing it to the main branch? Because this is the first commit. So it has to have a stem first before other branches. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about creating a branch and you see the difference between committing to main and committing to a branch basically. So let's commit to our main. So I'll say git branch and main. So I've committed it to the main. Note most times Git will not give you a response. So once it just goes and you don't see any error message, like as I was getting this error message at this point, you just know that your command is good and it went to so git branch and main. Then the next thing I'll do now is git add. What am I adding? The origin URL. This is what will help specify to git to your terminal that this is where you want to push the code to. Like this is the most important part. This is the SSH of your code. Someone wants to join. Give me a minute. So please push into a branch. You may need to recommend this extension that switches towards Git and Github. No, you don't need any extension. So please after pushing to a branch and we later want to move it to the main. How do we do it? There's a command called git merge main, but I'll explain as we go further. Let's take it step by step, shall so the next thing I want to do now is basically I'm going to copy this because I don't want to start typing this out. I'm going to copy this. Git remote add. What from the word remote self, it's specifying that this is where everything I'll be doing at the moment is making my document a repository, adding and committing my changes to that repository. You understand? That's what I've been doing so far. But I have not yet specified the part of my GitHub that this should go to. At the moment I created this repository, this is the link associated with the repository. So it's saying that I am adding I'm adding my document to this remote location in my GitHub. That's what this thing means. So I'm just going to copy it. I'll come to my terminal control and I'll just right click. I didn't even copy it. I just highlighted it. Control C. I'll come here and I'll just right click. So once I do that, I click enter. Then it has already added my remote origin to this particular URL. So the final thing I'll do is now to push everything to my GitHub. So git push you um origin main. Now before I press enter on this command, I want to show you something. I've done every other thing here, right? If I click on refresh, let's see what happens. You can see it's still there, meaning that everything I've done will not still pop up in my GitHub unless I actually push those changes. So push is like the final and last command that in case you made any mistake, you can do some git reverse commands to just make some changes before you push. But once you push, it reflects here. I can refresh it again and see that it's not reflecting, right? Now let me go to my command prompts and let's click enter on this. So I clicked enter already. Let's wait. So what it's doing now is processing. You can see enumerating objects counting 100% done
Checks, please.
overflow.
Your network is breaking.
My network is breaking. Okay. Can you hear me properly now?
Yes, we can.
All right. So now if I go back to I've pushed it to my GitHub, right? So now let's go back to my I pushed it to my GitHub from the terminal control. So let's go back to GitHub now and let me refresh. And let's see what happens. You can see the things I added have been displayed. You can see the commits. You can see the commit is a link, traceable link. This is the file I created, right? Now let's read the document. You can see everything I did. This is it. So I have committed to my Git. I can also view my main.css. So if I go back now to my repository, I can see what I created here, right? Basically, this is what I created. So I can just view it. So those are the basic processes in adding our document to GitHub at first. So I'll take a pause now, basically, and if you guys have any question at all to ask me before I start talking about various things or other stuffs. If you have any other question, if you have any questions to ask me, if I go into further Git commands. Any questions, anybody? Before I proceed, I hope you guys can hear me. So nobody's talking.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can.
Okay. Before I
Someone asked a
return,
question. I don't know if you can see it.
I rejoined the call, so I probably missed some messages. But if you did ask a question on the okay, Divine Richard, can you unmute your mic and ask your question? Oh,
Good evening. My question is, I was trying to
I can't hear you. I
push
can't hear you.
like you did now, but it wasn't going. I was trying to push now like you did, but it wasn't going. It was showing me fatal something. What could be wrong?
You're trying to push
Did
now, and it's not
everything.
going.
Yes.
What's the error saying?
Fatal,
Sorry?
something. It showed me fatal something like fatal. It couldn't go. And I
Have
checked.
you connected your email and your username to your Git?
Yes, I have.
You follow the process, the Git init, Git add, Git commit. You did all of that.
Yes.
Are you currently on your laptop now?
Yes.
Divine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
Can you share the error on the message box so I can see it?
Okay.
Pause,
The
please.
error
Let me help.
from the current
Okay.
branch. The current branch mainstream has no upstream branch. To push the current branch and set the remote
Did
upstream.
you add origin to it when you were pushing? I hope you not just try to git push.
No, no, no. The upstream. Listen, I did others.
The upstream.
Yes, I did it. I I copied it from the way you copied it your from the GitHub
Okay,
on
if it's
Github.
giving you an upstream error, there are two things involved. Either you did not add the remote origin, either you did not add the remote origin, git add, or you added the wrong remote origin. The second thing is that either you did not branch to main, so to specify a path. So if you follow the process, I pushed mine, you should be pushing yours. So you should be looking at this. Did you type it out or you copied and paste?
Copied and paste. I did copy and paste.
Okay, do you know what you do? Probably send a screenshot of the error to the group chat.
Alright.
So I can take a look at it. Can you do that?
Uh,
All right, Mr. Shezi. Hey, I'm not Mr. Please, could you help me with how to push my codes to Git? Yeah, I just explained the process. Let me do a recap. The first thing we'll do is okay, I can just type it in the message box. Is git init. That's the first thing we do. After we do git init, we have to do git status. Check what and what we want to update to our git repository. After we do git status, we do git add and dot so that we can add everything in our folder. After we do that, we will now do git commit and we'll add our comments. So after we do git commit, then we have to do git branch main. That's to specify the branch, which is the main branch that we're pushing to. After we do that, we do git add remote. We are going to specify our URL. Then after that, we do git push view origin main. So these are the processes we follow to push our code to GitHub. So Richard, yeah.
yeah, it has finally worked.
All right, that's fine. So is anybody having any other? Where can I learn these commands and their meaning? Okay. I wanted to show this at the end of the class, but since everybody's curious, okay, Divine, what's your question? Okay, you don't have any question. All right. So I wanted to I sourced for a site that just displayed most of this most of this information. So basically, this is the site. But I would have loved to share this at the end, but we can just look at it. Git init, git clone, these are various commands. Okay, let me just share the link. Let me just share the link. You get the most used 35 git commands here, basically. So I'll just share the link. I'll just share the link. Naomi, are you sure it's not your network? Science is not breaking. So just can visit the link and you see major git commands that people use in every day in their git repository. So basically I don't think there's any other question. Let me go through the chats. Let me go through the chat. So Chico, I answered your question in the chat box. So just follow those processes. You should be able to commit to Git. The beginning parts. What's beginning parts? After pushing to a branch, we don't want to move it to the main. How do we do it? Okay, let's go into pull requests. Like when you push to a branch. Okay, let's start with creating a branch right now. So I can create a branch in two ways. This time I'm not going to be working with command prompts. I'm going to be working with VS Code because I've used command prompts for some parts now. So basically, this part now, I would work with VS Code and I'm going to create a branch, right? All right. So let me go to my VS Code. So now in my VS Code, for example, now I decide that okay, I'm already in the specified part already, as you can see. So I'll just do git branch. And what should I call it? What should I call it? Bootcamp branch. Let's call it bootcamp amp branch. Now I've created a branch, right? Let's come to my GitHub and let's click on branch. Let me try and reload. Now, who can tell me why I'm not seeing the branch that I just committed? Anybody can just try. Or why I'm not seeing the branch that I just created, sorry. Can anybody just try? Even in the comments box, if you can try as to why I'm not seeing the branch I just created. Alright, Divine.
I think because you've not pushed.
Sorry?
It's because you've not pushed it.
Exactly. So once you have not pushed anything to your GitHub, push is the final and last command. It's not going to display in your GitHub. So I just created a branch. Currently, the branch is created in my Git, not my GitHub. So I created a branch now, and I want to work on that branch. I don't want to because if you look at the bottom here, you can see my source. I'm currently in the main branch. What is the main branch? Let me show you the main branch. This is the this is the main branch, basically. I'm currently in the main branch. You can see this is the main branch. That's what it is. You can see that you can even see that icon close to it. Come down, you can see the same icon close to it. So I'm currently in the main branch. So I want to move away to this main branch, to this branch that I created, right? So I'll come here, I'll do git checkout. Checkout. Now this is a new git branch. The name are also git commands. So you can be taking note of these commands. Taking note of these commands. Git checkout, and I'm just going to paste the name and I click enter. Switched branch to bootcamp branch. Now look at what's happening. Look at my branch now changed to bootcamp branch. Basically, that's what it means. So now let me come and make some changes now. For example, what change should I make? Okay, let's say I'm adding. What should I add? What should I add? Okay, let's say I'm adding an input tag and text name, or probably I need to add a label for probably give it an ID. Let's say name. I'll come here, give it an ID of name. I'll say first name and I put my input tag. Then I'm going to replicate this probably, and I'll call this age. Call this age. I can just come here and say age. Probably. Alright, so let's go to the document folder and see. Alright, see the changes I just made now. First name and input tag and age. Right, so I can just come back now to my GitHub and I've added these changes, but you should note that where am I working now? I'm not more working on the main branch. I'm working on the bootcamp branch that I created, not longer the main branch. You can see when it's switched, when I checked out this branch. So if I do git status now, there's no need for me to do git init already because I've already initialized it from beginning as a git repository. So if I do git status now, I can see the places I can see that if you notice I did not edit the main.css. I only edited the index.html. But why is it showing me main.css and the index.html? It's because of in this new branch I have not added the index.html and the main.css. I have not added it at all. It's a completely new branch. So I cannot decide that okay, I want to add everything now. Git add then dot. Then I add everything. I can check my Git status. Everything is added, right? So what I will now do now is Git. The next thing I'll do now is Git commit. Git commit and I'll be like created a new branch. Created a new branch and added an input field. Right? That's my commit description. I click on enter. You can see the commit now. Created a new branch and added an input field. That's the name. So far it's changed. It's insertion basically. Straight up. So what do I do now? Next thing after commits, this is way different from when you are creating a new repository. The next thing after commits is straight. I'm going to be pushing. So how do I push? Remember the last command we did when I wanted to push to me was git push you origin me. This is what I did before, right? But we should note that I am not pushing to me. I'm not pushing to me. I'm pushing to bootcamp branch. So I'm just going to git push you origin bootcamp branch, and I just enter and I wait. Then it pushes to that branch. And you can see new branch, bootcamp branch. Now let me go back to my you guys are still with me, right? Alright, let me go back to my GitHub and I'll click on branch. Now you can see the branch I created is here, right? So I want to the thing you should notice now is that let me show you something. If I go back to my code now, currently I'm seeing this input tag. I added it in my branch, in my bootcamp branch I created, not in my main. So let's do something now. I'm going to go back to my main. So I'll do git checkout main. Right? If I do git checkout main, you can see that input tag I added is gone. Let's look at it. Let's refresh. It's no longer here. Why? Because now there are two different branches. Most likely, let's say Emeka has this one and Shedrack has this one. So they are two different things, but they are working on the same repository. So I can go back now and check it back out to my bootcamp branch. And when I do that, I can see the commit there, right? And I check back again to me. But what you should understand is that if you don't combine it, if you don't push it to your main, it's not going to be part of any link that you are hosting it to. Like if you go to Netlify now or you get a link from GitHub for people to view it, the only thing people can view is the main. That's the main branch. Any other branch, if you do not combine it with the main branch, it's not going to be visible. Just like now, I went back to the main branch and I'm not seeing this added. So how do I combine my branch to my other branch to my main branch? I can do it two ways. I can use GitHub and I can use Git, but basically I'll be using GitHub. So now let's go to GitHub, right? Your main branch isn't protected, most likely. Protect this one of pushing further information, basically. So now this is the branch that I created, my branch. It's showing me my branch because it's me that created it. If other people were working on this repository, to be displaying under here, active branch. So what the first thing I want to do is create a new pull request. That's a request for me to join this branch to the main branch. Most of the time, when you create a new pull request, you are not the one creating a new pull request. Most times, when you create a new pull request, you are not the one to come and merge it though. You leave it for probably the person who was seeing the project or your project manager to come and look at your branch first. If he deems it okay, then fine. He cannot merge your pull request. What does pull request mean? It means that you have pulled your branch into the main branch, but it has not yet been given a green light, like it has not yet been merged. It is pending. If you come to pull request, you can see it. That means you are requesting whoever owns the repository that look at, oh, this is my branch and I have committed some changes. So I've opened a pull request for you to check. And if it's okay, then you can now merge my pull request. That's combine my branch to the main branch. So once I click on merge pull request, we should take note that I'm currently in the main and I cannot see the input tag, right? So if I come back and I merge pull request, I can see what the person did, created a new branch and added an input field. That's the importance of the commit. So the person, you give a detailed description of what you did there. Very important. So I can see that, okay, so person created a new branch and added an input field. Fine. I can now confirm the merge. So once I confirm merge, what it does is that it joins the branch together with the main, right? So when it does that, it has been merged. You can see merged. So I'll definitely come back to my main and my main branch now. So if I go back to my VS Code, I'm not still seeing the input. Why? Because I've not updated my Git. Like I've not updated my Git on the changes I made in my GitHub. So the first thing I'll just do is I'll make sure that I am in the main branch. So once I am in the main branch, I'll now do Git pull. What does it do? It pulls all the recent updates from your repository down into your VS Code folder. So once I click enter, you can see the input tag comes and my main is not part of it. So if I go, if I visit my live server, I can see that the input tag is there now, basically. So that's one way to create a branch. That's one way to create a branch and also update your main repository with the changes made in that branch. So the third thing most likely I'm talking about now is when we make changes to our repository, to our documents, for example, I decide that um changing this from this a GitHub class for gurus. This is what I want to call it, right? And I want to commit this. Instead of doing git add, all those processes I said, those processes I said is for when you are creating a repository. Once you have created a repository, if you want to just be pushing your changes, you can come down here. No need to do git init again. Just do git status. If you want to use git status, check the things that was changed. If you don't want to use git status, you can just come here. You see changes here. Once you click on it, you see what changed. The red one is the previous one. The green one is the new one. Basically, that's how you see what you changed. So either way is okay. But this one is better because it shows you exactly what you changed. Why this git status just show you the file that was changed, basically. But the good thing again about VS Code is that once you change something, you see this sign beside to show you that something new was added. So let's say let me change this thing now to Divine is my assistant today. You can see that this sign was added here. If I decide that I want to add um instead of age, I want to say email. You can see the sign green. New stuff was added. So there's always this indication that something was added. So once I do my git status, I'll be able to see the file that I changed. So the next thing I'll now do is git add dot to add the file. And I'll now do git commit what should I call it? To make a few changes. Probably make a few changes and I commit. After I commit, the last thing I'll now do is git push. I just do git push directly because I'm my main branch. If you are creating it, you do your normal git push you origin main. Oh. But because I've checked out this branch, I can just do git push. And once I do git push, it pushes my changes to my git. Pushes it direct to my git. So This is how to update your Git repository after you have created it. Just Git Git status to know what was changed or what was modified. Git add to add the file. Git commit and Git push to commit your changes after you have created a repository. So that's another thing you should note. That's another thing you should note. So let me look at my main and I refresh. Now you can see now made a few changes 1 minute ago. That's how important this commit is. So I can see 4 different commits already. I hope you guys are still with me. So Udochukwu Chike, ask a question.
Okay, good evening.
Aaron.
So when you were making you were creating a new branch, I did not quite get you after let me see. I didn't quite get you after you created a branch, like you created the bootcamp branch. So how did you complete it? Like what was the next step you took after? Because I know that after we have the main branch, which is we have the main, which is the default. Now coming to the branch, like creating a bootcamp branch, like how did you complete it? Like what was the completion? That's my question.
What was the completion? Okay, what I did was I created the
How do
branch.
you
So when I created the branch, I checked out to the branch. That means I moved my directory to that particular branch. That means I'm going away from working on main to working on that branch. So what I did was git checkout. Let's trace the code. So I'll just go up. Right. So what I did first was I created the branch. This was the command I used to create the branch. Right? So when I created the branch, the next thing I did was funny. Alright, hold on. I is not tracking my code now. But let's do something. Let's create a new branch. Right. Can you give me a name? Idochuku, right? Idochuku, yeah. Give me a name for a branch. Let's do that. Let's create a new branch.
Okay, port branch.
Top branch. Is that what you said? Top.
Port branch.
Port. Port. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let's say I'm creating a new branch called port branch. Git branch port. Don't make sure you don't leave spaces. Spaces don't work on Git terminal command. Git branch, port branch. Sorry, branches. So it means that I've created a branch, right? So I need to note that I am still on my main branch. I can see the source control here. I'm still on my main branch. So what I want to do now is navigate to this new branch I created so I can work on that branch. So I'll do git checkout. Git checkout copy this. Git checkout port branch and I click enter. Switched to branch, port branch. I can come here and see that okay, I've changed to port branch. I'm no longer on main branch. So now let's make a few changes. What should I add? Which other? Let's add a strong tag and call it creating branches. Added a strong tag. So this is the change. This is the change I did in my new branch. Are you following, Udochukwu?
I am with you. Just be a little bit slow.
All right. Okay. So I added a change. I first of all switched to the new branch I did by doing git checkout port branch. So when I switched to the new port branch, I now started working on that branch. So the changes I made is adding this creating branches, right? So I now want to commit. I want to commit this change to my GitHub. So what I'll do is git status first. Just to practice. Okay, this is what I modified index.html. So I'll just do git add a dot to add all the files. So once I do that, now everything I'm doing right now is not on my main branch, oh, it is on my ports branch that I created. So after that, I'll now do git commit m now right created a new branch. When I commit, I can see what branch, I can see my commit code, my commit ID, sorry, and I can see created a new branch as my comment. I can see Wi-Fi change, one file changed and two insertions. So after that, I'll now do, because if I come to my GitHub, I'll probably go to my main and go to my branch. I'm not seeing the port branch here because I've not pushed it, but now let's push it. So I'll say git push. Okay, I need to specify the origin. This is the first time. Git push origin. I'll put my port branch. I'll enter. So it pushes it to my GitHub. Then after that is done, I can come here and I'll refresh. Once I refresh, I'll see the branch that I created. Port branch. So if I want to join this port branch to my main branch, I'll open a pull request. I'll open a pull request. So once I open a pull request, I'll see the comments created a new branch. I'll create the pull request. And after that, it will check whether the two files can merge. Why? Because two people can work on the same file and will not know that they work on the same file. And if they made changes on that same file, it will definitely throw an error. We call it git conflict. It throws a conflict error. And those kind of conflict requires calming down to solve. So you don't go and eradicate the other person code over your code. So it's to solve git conflict can be tough sometimes, especially if there was a misunderstanding. So that's why it checks to see that this branch has no conflict with the base branch. What's the base branch? The main branch, basically, and other branches. So it checks it. And after that, it now merges. I can now confirm merge. So once I confirm merge, I can go back to my main directory and basically I can see that created a new branch has been added to my main branch. So if I come to my VS Code, currently, if I visit I can see the change I added, creating branches, right? But if I navigate back to my main, it's check out main. I no longer see the change I made. So what I have to do now is to pull the updated data from my GitHub down to my folder. So I'll just do git pull. And once I do that, I'll get the updated version from the repository and I can see it here. So that's basically how we went about the branch. So is that clear? Which
Yeah, I understood. Thank you.
all right,
I followed up.
all right, that's fine. So do we have any other question? Any other question, anybody? Like we're not understanding this git and GitHub. Somebody's talking. Divine Richard, what's the question?
The question is, I don't know, must it be from the branch that would pull the request to the main, or can you do from the main and pull? Like, is there any particular that?
I'm not hearing you clearly.
Okay, I said, is there any supposed to be in? Are we like supposed to push pull from the checkout branch? Like this one now, you were in the checkout, then you did a pull request and it merged to the main one. Or I mean, then it was able to do like that. Is there any particular when pulling request being that
I'm
particular?
not quite hearing you, Richard. Not quite hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, well, yeah, I can hear you. So what is it?
I'm saying when you made the pull request now, when you made that pull request, must it be in that branch that you would make the pull request? Must it be in that branch? Make that pull
Yes,
request.
yes, this
So
must be in that branch. It must be in that branch.
does the pull request now? What does it merge the new branch now with the
No,
main?
people
What does
request just it's a form of request. It's like it's a common practice when you're working with other people. So imagine you have a boss now. If you commit to a branch that you worked on, once you create that pull request, your boss, whenever he visits the repo, he will be able to see that somebody created a new branch and uploaded it and created a pull request. If I don't create that pull request, if I don't go to branch, I will not know that there is a new branch. Understand? So when you create that pull request, anybody that's supervising you or your head above will come and say, okay, there's a new pull request. Let me look at what and what this person did. So if the person is okay with what he did, then the person cannot confirm the merge. But that pull request is like signaling that okay, my branch is ready to be merged with me. So whoever anybody that comes and sees the pull request will now check the branch. If it's okay, then they will now accept the pull request. It's the same thing that works with open source. When you add a change to somebody project, you create a pull request so that when the person comes, the person can see that what you did. And the person is okay with your pull request, the person mentions it to the main branch.
okay. I
Yeah,
think I
that's how it
understand.
works. So you must create that pull request to signal that you did something or you made a change or
Yeah,
there.
it's signaling that you've made a change, but it has not been added to the
To the
main one.
main
So it
exactly.
makes that
Yeah.
person see what you've done before you can merge with the main one. Whoever owns the, the code.
What did you say?
And so whoever owns the code now can see that you've done a change. So now
Yes,
he now checks your work before he can merge it with the main
exactly. You understand now.
thing.
Joseph Uchena. Whatever I'm doing on VS Code Terminal, I can do it on command prompts. It's the same thing. I just decided to use VS Code Terminal too. But whatever I did, every Git command I wrote on the VS Code, I can do it on my command prompts too. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Any other question? My assignment to be stressful. Tell me if I'm not asking me question. Okay, Tochiko, I can hear you. Tochiko, you wanted to ask a question? See if anybody wants to join. If nobody.
Don't what was the mistake?
Sorry?
Okay. I was no vex. So that was I don't know there were some things when you started I don't know like that was the beginning part. There were some I don't know whether to call them prompts. There were some things you were writing. It was kind of fast. I was not really following. Like that beginning part, there were some things you were writing before you now opened your VS Code and the rest.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if you can remember. Yeah.
So basically, what I did was no, come on, please.
Okay, I think we
So what
can
I did
stop
was,
here.
oh, let me start again. So if I open my VS Code now, it takes me the default route. This default directory I'll be seeing is my I'll be seeing my default directory. I mean, so if I want to create a folder now, and I want to create my folder in documents, I'll do cd and documents. Once I do that, I've navigated documents. I can now create the folder, make directory, let me say Git. So once I've created this folder, I can now navigate to that folder by doing cd then git. So once I do that, I can now open the folder in VS Code. So I'll just do code and dots. So once I do code and dots, I'll click enter. Definitely would open my VS Code. So you can see my VS Code has opened with the new kit that I probably just created, which is this. So I'll just cancel it. So what I'll just do is go back to my terminal, dot, then I want to delete the folder, the directory on kits. It's gone and deleted. So that's basically the major thing I covered command codes, like how to use command codes to just open your VS Code faster. But it's mostly used when you have like large documents or you're looking for a particular document. So yes, that's what happened in our VS Code. Any other
Okay.
question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other question, anybody? The truth is that I didn't really follow up. I didn't really understand most of the class. I only got the branch part. And the class when it started, all of a sudden I feel like flash now, all of I was just looking at the screen. I didn't even know what to do. But the thing is that if you have any question, you can just tag me on the group. I'll answer your question. First of all, you don't really need to worry too much about understanding it. Just try to do something. And when you run into a wall, you cannot ask questions on the group. If I don't answer, other people will answer, basically. So don't just wait till you understand something fully. You have to keep trying and keep trying to understand it. As even basically when you would understand it. That's how it works. Okay, so just try. I dropped a link for major Git commands. I'll drop it again. So you can just summarize them. I just summarize them so you can probably if you forget any command, you can use it. So any other question or complaints? Any other question or complaints? Okay, the checker. Ask a question.
Post there, Mr. Shedrack. What that link that you posted? This one there is loginreduce.com/blog. What's the link for? Where does it take the person?
Okay, it shows you 35 major Git commands as you can see. Git patterns. So if you are trying to remember one or you forgot something, you can just come here to look for what you are looking for. So that's what the link is for. I don't think you'll be doing anything outside this major Git commands for now. So basically, that's what they are for. So any other question, anybody? All right. So I guess you don't have another question. So I'll be putting up an assignment definitely, and you people are going to be coding something, probably maybe in HTML, and you're going to be submitting your GitHub link to me. That's a link for me to view. This is what I'm asking you to submit. Where's my GitHub? So for example, now I'm in the main branch. This link is what I'm asking you to submit. Because I can visit once I visit this link, I can see. So it's definitely going to involve creating a branch, staging your commits, and all of that. So if you have any questions, ask me now. Ask me. Who's joining the call by this time? Kingsley, what's your question? Or was it a mistake? Sorry, you dropped your hand immediately. All right. right, if there's no more question, I think that will bring an end to the class on GitHub. I think the next thing we're doing is CSS. I don't think that's okay,
Okay,
Daniel.
please, can you show us the link again? You said we would submit our assignments with
Okay.
the link. The link.
This link, this the link, yes, this one. This is what you submit to me. Make sure you make it public. If you remember when I was creating, I there was a option between public and private. I make sure it's selected on public. So make sure you make it public so I can view it. So once you give me this link, I can view it. So this is the link you'll be submitting. This particular link is what you'll be submitting. So is that clear, Daniel?
Yes, and please, can you release this video early this week?
Oh, okay. I'll talk to Daniel about that. Make sure it's released early. It's
Thank
even
you. Thank
recorded
you.
itself. So I think soon you can just follow the recording so you can
Okay,
catch up.
thank you. Yeah.
All right, no problem. So yeah, that comes to the end of today's session on GitHub. You should be expecting my assignment. GitHub is very important. So I'm going to make the assignment worth it. So I'll catch you all guys next. I think Tuesday we should be having a class on Tuesday, so we can try to move faster. So I think we'll be having a class on Tuesday. So I'll see you guys next time when we're talking about JavaScript and React. So I hope you guys understood. Hopefully, I hope you understood. If you don't understand, you will watch the video. I know I broke it down very well. I know how to explain something. So yeah, that's the end of today's class. You guys can leave the call when you're ready. I'll be leaving now. Kingsley just enjoyed. Okay, Kingsley was there before. All right, so see you guys on Tuesday. Don't forget, I dropped this link so that in case you forget any Git command, you can visit there. Though if you visit the recording, you would see all the Git command I used. I used about 12 different Git commands today, or 10 or 11, I'm not sure. But I know I used Git command. Understand? So, if you have any question, do not fail to tag me. Okay, do not fail to tag me on the group chat. What I'm saying you should tag me on the group chat is that I might answer your question and some people might learn from it. So it's better than entering DM. Only you learn. But it's all good now. See you guys on Tuesday. Basically, peace out. Love and light.